This video is going to help you if you have a hard time stating what you want, if you have a hard time getting your needs, desires, and wants met, or if you feel guilty for asking for what you want, or you feel like you're spoiled or entitled or selfish because you want things. I'm going to be breaking down how to unravel a childhood imprint and belief system through giving you an example of something that happened to me, and then showing you the working pieces and how to take it apart, and how important it is to understand this, because we will walk away with imprints and emotions that we've suppressed from things that happened because we didn't fully understand how to discern the lessons involved. And those patterns will continue to block what it is that we want to create for the rest of our lives if we don't get to the root of it. My name is Adam. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before we get started, I just want to let you know on July 28th, I am doing a really transformative somatic release group energy clearing that you can sign up for in the description below. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the topic of self-worth and confidence. So if you have any issues with this, which basically all of us do, it's going to be really powerful. Then I'm going to get into how to release the patterns and beliefs around this topic in the nervous system. And then we're going to be doing a very large group clearing to clear your energy field so that you can begin to call in the aligned version of self-love and worth to really let your life expand in the way that you want. You get a recording if you're on the call or whether you're not, so you can do it as many times as you want in the future. Okay, so I'm going to be going over a little bit of a story first to show you something that happened to me as a kid and how it stuck with me and then how I unraveled it. So this goes back to when I was very little. I loved the cartoon He-Man. I don't know anyone who knows He-Man anymore. It's kind of like Superman. So I used to love the action figures. I loved the plastic swords. I loved the sticker books. And it was my birthday, okay? And I was going over to my great-grandmother's house to celebrate it, and my mom brought me. And I remember my great-aunt got me this He-Man action figure. The thing, though, was I remember opening up the wrapping paper, all excited on my birthday, only to see that it was an action figure that I didn't really want, you know? And I felt this sort of wave of disappointment, which we all can relate to. It's like you're a kid. It's the day you get what you want, your birthday, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever. You know, you run downstairs, you open the presents, and you didn't get it. You didn't get it. And you feel disappointed, okay? Well, what I proceeded to do was, and I feel like I did this very politely, I explained to my aunt that this wasn't really what I wanted. This wasn't the character that I wanted. And I turned over the back of the box because they had all these other action figures that they were advertising on the back, and I showed her the ones that I did want. I was like, this isn't what I want, this is what I do want. Okay, now from a kid's perspective, I was just being honest, right? I was just stating what I wanted. Well, when I got in the car with my mom, you know, she was upset with me and I got in trouble. And of course, I mean, it makes perfect sense. You know, she explained to me that this isn't something that you do socially. You know, you need to appreciate what you have. You know, your aunt went out of her way for you, to think about you, to go to a toy store, to buy you a gift, and then you're just telling her, this isn't what I want. So what happened was, you know, I felt bad because I was in trouble. And then, subconsciously, I felt guilty for a whole bunch of things. One, I felt guilty for being disappointed. I felt guilty for stating what I wanted. I developed a belief and a judgment on myself that I was spoiled and entitled for stating what I wanted. And because of that, I began to suppress emotions. I began to suppress needs and wants, and I began to feel like I was bad for wanting things. Now, this is because as children, like I said, we can't really discern the working parts of a lesson. So we'll conflate a lot of different things at once, and they'll sort of tie together in these knots that don't really go together. We make these associations, and then we carry them with us for the rest of our life if we don't find where these knots were tied. Another thing that happened was because I was a very sensitive, empathic child, and because all children are, my mother had certain emotions about this event, right? So, this is, she didn't do anything wrong. This is just part of being human, but she had some embarrassment probably that I behaved this way in public. She was a little frustrated with me, right? So I absorbed her frustration, her embarrassment. I felt ashamed. I felt bad. And all of that energy went into me as well. And I was unable to fully emotionally integrate the lesson she was trying to teach me because of her energy and my beliefs and my judgments, which isn't wrong. But you can look at it two ways. Like, she's right and I was right. I mean, from a kid's perspective, all I was really doing was just like saying, hey, this is what I want. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not spoiled or bratty because you want things or don't want things, or because you get what you want or you don't. It's more because of your attitude about it. It's when you don't really appreciate things that you become spoiled and bratty. It's not because you're saying, hey, I don't want this, I do want this. So what I had to do to unravel this was go back into the inner child self and first off, feel the disappointment that I felt when I opened the present and I didn't get what I wanted. Because I had judged that. I had judged that as bad. But there's nothing wrong with feeling disappointed. It's more the action that you take as a result of it. But again, these things happen really quickly in these moments, all the time, but especially as kids. So as I felt the disappointment and I acknowledged to the child self that it was okay to feel disappointed, I began to release the disappointment. Then I complimented the child, my inner child, for just stating what he wanted. Like, there was nothing wrong with that. It was good that he did that. Maybe there's a time and a place. It's a discernment lesson. You could wait, like, etc. But there was nothing wrong with him doing that. And as I felt the compliment and the acknowledgement, I released the guilt that was associated and the judgment associated with just asking what I wanted. Because like I said, that example will just be generalized in every other situation in your life if you don't unravel these specifics. Then the next thing I did was I allowed myself, and I did this through sort of asking my subconscious and my body to bring it up, to feel any of the emotion that was imprinted from my mother, any of her energy. So like if it was a little bit of shame or a little bit of embarrassment, or she was a little bit angry at me, like I felt all of that in my body and I gave it space to release. Then after I did that, I was able to feel her lesson from a gratitude-based place, which I could not do until I processed the rest of it. You can't feel gratitude if you're trying to force gratitude through shame or guilt or judgment. If you don't process and feel the underlying negative emotions, you can't get to the gratitude. So after I released those things, I was able to like viscerally understand, vibrationally understand from that moment that yes, my aunt was just going out of her way and doing, something nice for me and thinking about me. And it wasn't wrong that I told her that. And my mom wasn't wrong either. I mean, we tend to have these, it depends on your belief system, right? It's social etiquette, but we tend to suppress what we're really feeling in our authenticity in order to be polite a lot of times, which isn't healthy either, because then none of us are honest and then we start people pleasing. It's a fine line. It's a case by case, moment by moment, person by person basis. How honest do we all want to be in social situations? Do we want to just be like, hey, can you please stop talking? It's irritating me right now. I'm in a bad mood. Please go away. I mean, that's kind of mean and rude, but it's also authentic. It depends, right? So this I hope this gave you a little bit of a working framework for how to unravel some of these patterns, because it's very, very important. Judgment of ourself suppresses our ability to get our wants and needs met. And that one of the key points I want to make real quickly is that people who are bratty or entitled or selfish are so because they don't deeply know how to fulfill their needs internally with love. So what they do is they use external things to try to fill their needs, and then when they don't get it, they can't be okay in the moment because they can't appreciate themselves. So then they lash out and become sort of spoiled and entitled, but it's not really because they want something. It's because they don't know how to really fulfill the deeper needs and wants, like internally, psychosomatically, and spiritually. So I hope this helped. Please let me know if you have any comments, revelations, breakthroughs. If you sign up for the call, I'll be doing many more calls like this, and we'll get into all sorts of examples like this and how to unravel them in a group. Other than that, I thank you so much. I look forward to next time, and bye-bye.